Hey, everybody, or whoever might be here. Let me get this together. Hold on. I'll give everybody a minute to get in. I know there's a couple people who specifically wanted to come, so I'm going to give it a second and see if I can't get these pills down. I hope everyone's doing well this morning or afternoon or evening, whenever you might be watching. I think we're going to have fun today. Let's together, turn this guy off. Okay, so I can't tell if anybody's in the room yet. I have no idea. I don't know. All these windows are like back and forth, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Okay. So I have had a long prayer and meditation this morning. Good for Sunday. But I'll go ahead and do another round of prayer before we shuffle cards and get into it. I'll mess with that in a minute. I need to get this presentation up, but okay. All right, so we've got a couple people here. I am going to, I got a lot going on, y'all, because there's a lot going on. But to settle ourselves and ground for the day, I am going to say a little prayer. Take a couple deep breaths. Okay. Holy Spirit, we are here. We're asking for your love, your wisdom, your compassion, and your guidance. No matter our backgrounds, no matter where we're headed or where we're coming from, we are looking to hear a word today that will bring us to our better senses, to our higher senses, closer to ourselves and closer to one another. Ashe. All right, so we're going to shuffle up. I am going to, instead of doing like a dry read, I'm just going to do like a bit of a question to make sure that I'm headed in the right direction. I'm going to do that first. Today, we're talking about fear versus intuition, different aspects of the self that might show up at different moments in our lives when we're trying to figure out what to do or how to get out of a cycle. I know I was in one. I know a lot of my clients have been in them, and we're just now coming out of some repeating thing, whatever it might have been, like the last 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it is. And some of us recognize that the thing was repeating and have now hopped out and are like trying to make sure that we're not doing the same thing again. Some of us haven't come to that realization yet. And so, yeah, I don't know of very many people who are trying to get back in one, for sure. Whether that's a relationship with another human being, romantic, a friendship, a workplace situation, family situation, whatever it might be, people are just trying to stop the stupid and start something else. Very quickly, I'll say why I do Sunday sessions. I do Sunday sessions because things come up throughout the week with clients and in my own life that I think it would be helpful for everybody to discuss. I'm also noticing a little bit of a pattern. I'm a very novice astrologer, so I'm not a professional. If somebody's out there who is, they'll be able to tell me, but it seems like on the zodiac wheel, we're all kind of like moving in circles toward the same place, if it makes sense. So like I'll have a lot of Sagittarius and Scorpios going through similar things, but they'll be at different points in the same timeline for the same situation. So let's say a Scorpio is like, you know what, I'm ready to break up with this dude, whatever. a Sag has already done it. And by the time I get to an Aries, this person is like, I'm gonna fight this dude because he keeps calling me and I don't want to talk to him, right? Like, so it's like this round and round in different situations for different people. Again, I've gotten a lot of family situations and I've gotten a lot of work stuff as well. So that's one reason why I did the Sunday sessions. The other reason why is because I see a lot of cliche stuff going around on the internet, which is cool or was cool for a little while. But now we're kind of getting to the point where it's like, we don't even really know what we're saying anymore. Nobody's speaking the same language. We're using different buzzwords and stuff for stuff that doesn't apply or is out of context or whatever. It's just stuff all over the place. And if we're going to survive this next, I don't know, 50, 60 years, whatever it's going to be, we're all going to need to be living the same, living and speaking the same language. So it's not to say that I have, you know, the be all end all of the language, but I am saying that somebody needs to set forward some kind of standard for how we're going to talk about our spiritual lives and how we go about relating with each other. My background, that's relevant for this master's in human consciousness and transformative studies. So transpersonal psychology, transformative psychology, traditional psychology as well, along with any of the major spiritual traditions and religions. I come from a learning of the pagan tradition, Wiccan. Obviously, I spoke before, I have a AME background. So my background is the Black Christian Church, very generally speaking. And I can come from wherever you're coming from. So it doesn't really matter to me. But as long as you get it, as long as you're getting it in a way that's relevant and helpful for you, that's how we're going to roll it. All right, so here we go. First up, we'll do the Oracle card for the day. I'm going to switch this camera. Lord help me if I remember how to do that. I swear to God, I thought I used to be like the young hip person. Now I'm like, where's the buttons for? Okay. All right, we're going to switch that camera again. Switch it again. But hey, party. All right, here we go. Shuffle up. Get this first card. Communication is key. Yes, this is so much fun. Y'all are going to see why. All right, new moon in Gemini, communication is key. What we're talking about today is communication within the self, for the self. Communication, typically when this card comes up, it means more so communication between ourselves and other people. But in this particular case for today, we're talking about communication is key, especially with this new moon in Gemini. This is conversations with the self. Gemini is more so about like the masculine and feminine and the duality within the self. And so, in talking about that, we're going to be kind of identifying these different parts of the self. Now, as y'all will see in this presentation, like the parts of self are very vast. There's a lot of them, but more than anything, it is about the four parts that we're talking about today is the heart, the soul, the mind, the body, and the spirit. Well, the five, right? Heart, soul, mind, body, spirit. We can get into inner child and ego self versus, you know, the anima and the animus and all of that stuff. But today we're just sticking with the basic five. Okay. Oh, hey, Julia. Okay, cool. So yeah, so that's where we're going with this. So let's get a couple of clarifiers. We'll do 3 up today. And hopefully I tend to stick with traditional or near traditional tarot for this stuff because I want y'all to what was I saying? I want y'all to learn these cards, man. If you don't want to, that's okay. But I do want you to kind of see what these cards mean. So 6 of Pentacles in the reverse, we've got the Sun, and we have the Ace of Wands. I don't know if this is showing up for y'all on Facebook. Let me know if it is or not, if these cards are showing up. If not, then I'll hold them up. And then during the replay, y'all can go back and look at the cards themselves. So The Sun in reverse has been coming up a lot for me this week. This is really amazing. So 6 of Pentacles in reverse, Ace of Wands upright. 6 of Pentacles talks about, in this particular context, giving and receiving. Oh, sweet. Okay, y'all see it. Yay. Okay, this is great. So 6 of Pentacles talks about like giving and receiving, right? Making sure that it's balanced, making sure that what you're giving to a situation or receiving in a situation is the same that's happening in return. So it's about a balance of that thing. It can be about charity. It can also be about compassionate giving. When I see it in the reverse, sometimes it makes me feel like giving from a place of hoping for reward, or especially like getting the spotlight or giving for the reason of hoping for the spotlight. And I think that may come up again here. Also here with the Sun in reverse, in its lower polarities, the Sun in reverse can also talk about things sort of being hidden, or pride, especially, or people who, or a person who might be in a situation where they can see something clearly, but they don't want to look at what they're seeing. They don't want to look at what they're looking at, which I think is the context here. And then the Ace of Wands here coming in. To me, lately, this card has been like a club to the head. It's been like you're kind of moving along and everything's fine. It's like whack, it's like this new idea. Sometimes the Tower can feel like that, but the Ace of Wands does it in where, so it's a redirect. And so instead of like maybe that Tower feeling, I'm going to talk about the Tower. The Tower is another card in tarot that basically means like total destruction and annihilation of a belief system, or could be a home life or family, whatever the situation is. It's just a total flattening of it so that it can be built anew. The Ace of Wands is more of a redirect. So it's like taking what you already have and kind of giving you a new understanding of it or a new belief around it and like redirecting it. So with all of these cards here, especially in the context of what we're learning today, what I'm picking up on is that, one, we're generally moving in the right direction, but I'm going to really emphasize listening to the heart, for sure. Listening to the heart, being compassionate with yourself in that, and making sure that these things are integrated. Because when we start listening to the heart, when we've been coming from a place where we've been listening to our heads, or we've been over concerned about like our daily lives or material things or whatever, it can feel a lot like this club to the head. It can feel a lot like, oh God, I kind of see where I've been going wrong, or I kind of see where I would have been going right. It doesn't have to be wrong. It just is like, okay, well, let me redirect. And having the courage to do that is certainly something that we'll talk about. So we'll set those aside until the end. If there's time left and y'all are still hanging around, I will do a couple of like quick reads. Anybody has questions for Spirit or questions specific to their lives? That's how we're gonna roll it. All right, so we're gonna get out of there. Let me see. I double click. I swear, this thing, boy, let me tell y'all. Get out of there. I'm going to share my other screen here. There we go. So now I'm up double time, and that's cool. Why is this getting not working? Oh, Julia, while this is going on, so the reverse Sun card in its higher polarities, when it comes out upright, it typically means yes, go, this is great, things are going to be fine, whatever you're going through right now is going to pass over, everything is good, you have total illumination and clarity, and it's actually typically depicted by a naked baby on the back of a horse in a field of sunflowers, right? It's like the happiest card of the deck. When it's in reverse, in its reverse polarities, it can sometimes mean, something like being happy in a moment while you're ignoring something else, right? While something else is supposed to, you kind of in the back of your head is that niggling feeling like, something's not quite right, but you're trying to have fun. You're in the moment of whatever you're doing, and you just kind of want to keep forward. You want to keep doing whatever the hell it is you're doing, even though you kind of know, like, something's in the back. Also in the reverse polarity, it can talk a lot about pride and over extending yourself for spotlight or for, as the kids call it, clout, whatever. But it's doing it in a way where it's not authentic. So you're doing whatever you can to get out in the spotlight, to get in front of a camera, to do whatever, or to be seen, but you're doing it without any substance. And so that can be it. I also saw that Sun card come up this week for an affair, which was very difficult, in the reverse polarity. So that, it's something to look into. I do not know what the heck is going on or like why I can't get out of this camera mode, but I really need to get to the rest of this presentation. Let me do F11, maybe, let's say. You're very welcome, dear. I don't know what the heck is going on. Stop share. Let's do, hey, party. Okay, now we're gonna go to share the other screen. I'm going to share basic. I'm going to share this screen. Yay, share that screen. All right, present this guy, standard. All right. So today overall, we're going to talk about The Alchemist. Lord, I'm so glad I'm not the same perfectionist I used to be. I would be freaking out about it right about now. So, all right, one of my favorite books, both for storytelling and the fiction and the beauty of it, and also for the spirituality, is The Alchemist. Is like it's like almost a Bible to me at this point in my life. So we're going to be coming from there. And especially because it talks a lot about this inner voice and the soul and the heart and intuition and all of that. So these images are from The Alchemist. I don't know if there's actually a cartoon now or whatever, but there's been so many different renditions of it. I guess it doesn't really matter so much, but it's a really great book. Excuse me. Oh, and before we get too far into that, I'll show y'all. Do I want to do that? No, I'll show that to y'all later. Anyways. So from The Alchemist is this older gentleman, this mentor to the younger boy here. And the younger boy asks the alchemist, he says, "My heart is afraid that it will have to suffer," the boy told the alchemist one night as he looked up at the moon in the sky. And the alchemist responded, "Tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself, and that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams. Because every second of the search is a second's encounter with God and with eternity." And so at this point in the game, the boy, and why do I forget his name so fast? Okay. But at this point in the game, the boy the shepherd is trying to figure out what to do with himself. He's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. He's on his way to his destiny to fulfill his dream of like finding this treasure and possibly marrying this woman. But he's left behind, his home life. He's left behind everything he's ever known in search of this treasure. And as he's kind of going through it and like trying to survive all these challenges in order to get over there, what he's asking himself is like, dang, is this the right thing to do? Like, there's a lot going on here. And I know that this is what my heart wants, but why would my heart want something that requires so much sacrifice and so much challenge? And how do I know when my heart is speaking to me? And if it's not just, something else. And he's not wanting to really listen to his heart unless he can be guaranteed, right, that in some way this is going to turn out well for him. And so it can be very difficult, I think, for all of us when we're like, man, my heart is really telling me to do something, even if it's something that we want, and knowing all the challenges and the trials and the whatever that are going to come with it. And you think, like there could be suffering involved at the end of this, right? But it's always more important to listen to the heart, regardless of what challenges you might incur. And so we're going to get a little bit deeper into that. Don't want to give everything away off top, but that's kind of where we're coming from. So there's a lot of information, but this is like the heart of all the things for today. There are 4 parts of the self that talk. So, this is not all of them. Like I said, this is just the main 4 for this particular discussion. But what we're talking about is the soul, the heart, the spirit, and the mind. Now, nobody told me this, but I tend to take the soul and the heart as more feminine aspects of ourselves. These are kind of like, feminine to me always implies uncertainty. These are very non-linear, funky, strange places to be, and they have their own logic to them, but it's not masculine logic. For me, feminine stuff tends to do that. Masculine stuff tends to be very straightforward, much more logical, and though it might lack a kind of it doesn't have like it doesn't have that same level of uncertainty. It can be, but it's much more straightforward and obvious in the masculine than in the feminine. Nothing right, wrong, better, or good, anything like that. But that's just how I tend to look at things. So from the soul, you got, this is what I call the navigator. This is like your intuition comes from here as well, but it's like your primary navigator, and it's your primary navigator in the way that like you won't even know it's operating if you haven't really gotten in touch with it, but it is driving you. So sometimes you'll be in a situation like, dang, why did I just do that? Like I was doing whatever, and like all of a sudden I just popped off at somebody, or this was the opportunity of a lifetime and I waited till last minute to prepare for it, or something like this. Sometimes that can come from different places of the heart or soul, but sometimes your soul will be driving you in a particular direction in order to fulfill a destiny, basically. So from the soul comes the best and the worst of you. Comes the best and the worst of every recorded deed from your past and everyone that you will take forward in your future. So if you've never heard of the Akashic records, the Akashic records very quickly is something is what a lot of Christians would call the book of life, right? It's got all of your, what they call soul contracts, who you're supposed to meet, where you're supposed to go, destiny, fate, all of that kind of thing. I'm a little half baked on that belief, but generally speaking, that's kind of where this is going in terms of like, you know, the record of your soul, or the place where your soul is supposed to go and where it's come from. And same thing with your karma. So your soul records a lot of your karma, lessons that you need to learn. Doesn't necessarily mean that you did anything bad to someone. They're just things that your soul is particularly here to learn. And that's karma. Your dharma is the stuff that you've taken, or the blessings and lessons that you've harvested from your karma, that you can then take and move forward in your life, that you can build on, that you can, some people call it your destiny. It's that place of your best, highest self, your best and highest version of your life is more so where your dharma is going or headed to. And so your soul is an active keeper of records, essentially. Your soul is also the place where you go to talk to, whether it's the Holy Spirit or God or Allah or whomever it might be. Your soul is the space and time, like a container, almost like an actual place in your psyche that allows you to have these conversations with people and beings beyond this place and time. I really hope that makes sense because that's the whole thing. But that's basically what it is. It keeps score for sure, and it informs the heart. So let's say your soul is, you know, whatever in the driver's seat, we'll put the heart in the passenger seat. Here's the thing about this, is a very rudimentary way of understanding this, but we're talking about this from a standpoint of like driving a car. Let's say your body is a vehicle, your soul's in the driver's seat, your heart's in the passenger seat. Now, here's the thing with this. If you haven't done a whole lot of deep spiritual work, you might not have immediate access to the soul as the navigator. And so the next immediate place that I tend to take clients, I tend to help clients with, is somewhere around the heart. The way that society has conditioned us, we don't immediately have access to the soul the same way we would have in ancient times, or in a different community, or in a different system, let's say. But the heart, we kind of know. right? Like no matter what life does to you, you know when you're sad, you know when you're upset, you know when you're happy, you know when there's joy or delight or love. It's a very accessible place from which to navigate. It's a very accessible navigator. Wait, so Kimberly said, oh, hey, yes, Kimberly. So the Akasha is a field of infinite possibility. It's the repository of the I am that you're across this lifetime, all lifetimes. Yes, and Kimberly is, God, I'm so glad you're here. Kimberly is our one of the priestesses that I work with, who is quite the expert on the Akashic records. So I'm glad that she was here to talk about that. I was really scared to get too deep into that before I go off in some rabbit hole. So if you wanted more information about the Akashic, Kimberly can definitely help you with that, and check out that comment. And so cool. So from the heart comes courage, wisdom, the metabolism, the metabolizing of that which is passed through your mind over time and time again as a pattern. So that's a really long-winded way of saying that your heart knows instantly what it takes your mind a really long time to figure out. Like you can go into a situation and immediately be like, nope, I don't like this person. You might not even know why, but you'll be like, nope, this is not a good place to be. I'm not safe here. This is not good. Or you go into a situation and be like, man, I feel like I know this person, or I feel like we're good, partners, or we'd make good friends or something like that. That's more like the heart speaking to you. It can also come when you're, especially for women, and you have people who are, well, I don't want to say women, just femmes in general, people who are very in touch with this side of themselves. You're in the kitchen and you just think about somebody, or you're doing something and you're like, oh, I need to call, my firstborn. This is the kind of way that your heart will speak to you. Or you'll be doing something, maybe even in the middle of the relationship, and be like, I don't really know if this is going to work, or man, this might be the love of my life, right? So it's a whisper. I believe it was Zukov. I don't know if it was Zukov or Tolle who said something like, what did they say? The still small voice. So that's your heart, right? It's a great navigator. If you can't necessarily get to the soul, or you haven't had any shamanic experiences just yet, the heart works really, really just as well, honestly. Then on the masculine side, again, my opinion, not fact, you've got the spirit. So if you're in the car, you got your heart and your soul in the front seats. Your spirit is the vibe, right? It's the music on the radio. This is where your genius is. This is where everybody has a genius, right? That special something that makes who you are, that lights up a room, or it's your energy, it's your power, it's your essence. It's your expression and self-perception. It's self-belief. It is what pushes you forth in the world. And it is the ethereal vehicle. It's like the inner shell, like the car's interior, right? Let's say, by which you move about on the planet. So it's the thing that's going to help you navigate where everything is. And I was just telling my partner the other day, I was like, nobody ever asks you if you're in bad spirits, right? Spirit tends to go up. It is very transcendental. If we ask somebody what spirits they're in, then we'll ask them, hey, are you in good spirits? Because we assume good is up, because in the West, that's where everything goes up, right? And so it tends to be that. Now, if you are in bad spirits, this feels like, it feels more like depression and less like anxiety. And I'll kind of explain that a little bit more. But when the spirit is not doing well, it's lacking that light. It's in darkness, and so it's settled and low and humming. And it can be temporary. It can be totally healthy. Sometimes you're grieving, things like that. But your spirit tends to do a lot of the processing for the emotional body. And next is the mind. The mind, this is Google Maps, right? This is the Weather Channel. This is the PSAs on the radio. This is all the information that you need to know in order to get to where you're going, right? So your heart might be like, man, I feel like going to the bookstore today, because Ava, right? I feel like going to the bookstore today. Okay, and the mind is like, okay, how are we going to get there, right? What's the best place to go? Which one is open? Because the Rona, right? So because of the pandemic, how do we know which one we're going to go to? Which one is open, and what's the best route to get there to avoid traffic, right? So from your mind comes systems and processes for maintaining life, your survival instincts, ideas, philosophies that the spirit and the heart feed from. So if they'll tell you all the time, if you're in a really bad, like emotional place, and you're otherwise healthy, like mentally healthy, you can jump out of that thing by changing your thoughts, right? Change your thoughts, change your mind, kind of thing. Change your thoughts, change your feelings. And so your feelings, your emotions can come from these places in the mind, how you're processing certain information. It also comes up with your survival instincts, right? The limbic and the reptilian. We're not going to get into that. That's another day. But those different aspects of the ancient brain that tell you certain things about a situation, that give you information about where you are so that you can make better decisions. Ideas and philosophies, kind of went over that. And the thoughts you create here can and do take form. They have energy, have seed and seed. Okay, so here's the thing about these thoughts. And this is a little esoteric, but when you're thinking things, and most any person doing spells will tell you this, your thoughts are energy in and of themselves, and they actually have a form. They actually take on like an energetic field that you can manipulate. Some people on this planet can even see them. And depending on what you're thinking and what you're forming, those things can take on a life of their own. So it's really important for you to get a handle on your mind. I know that when I'm in fear and that my mind is going too much on goofy stuff, I am more susceptible to like what they call sleep paralysis at night, which is when it feels like somebody's like, some people call them demons, some people say the rich is riding or something like this, but it feels like somebody's like leaning on you and you're awake, but you can't move. Most of the time I have those really nightmarish experiences when I'm in a state of fear all day and I'm coming too much from the mind. So that's something to think about, is that because those thoughts, if I'm in fear all day, they have shape and take form, they have to go somewhere. And for me, they will come sit on me. So just be very aware of that. If you know it works in the negative, then also obviously it can work in the positive direction, right? So be aware of that. I'm actually going to escape just a little bit so that y'all can see. Let me see if I can get, Lord have mercy. Stop share. And then I'm going to come back in and share again so I can look at something else. Next. I don't know what y'all can see now. This is so weird. Let me stop playing with these people. Let's see here. Present. There we go. All right. So you guys tell me what you can see here, because this thing is acting weird. All right. So I'm guessing y'all can see me. Let me know, or see the screen anyway. So I'm going to keep it moving. Okay, sweet. So yeah, so that's pretty much how that works. If you have any questions, stop me, throw it in the situation. Throw it in the situation. What is wrong with me? Put it in the comment box so I can see it. Okay, so that being said, you want to move in the direction your heart wants to go. Use your mind to find the best path to it. This is just what we were talking about. You just want to make sure that you know, wherever you're going, that your heart is speaking first. And for me, I learned this the very, very hard way. Especially people, if you have a hard willpower, if you're like, hey, I want to do this, and you go get it and you go do it, you're like, I'm gonna get this bag, and you go get that bag. You can be doing stuff that your mind is good on, that your ego wants, that your body wants, all of that stuff. And your heart the whole time can be saying, no, stop, don't, get out, abort the damn mission, but you're so into the drive. And what will happen is you get to a certain point, whether it's in your career, could be a relationship, could be, I don't know, some institution or whatever. And you get there and you're like, I have all the things, and you like fall. And like your whole life starts dissolving around you like candy in the rain, because you were so busy doing you that you didn't ask the soul first. You didn't ask the heart first. You didn't check with the ancestors. You didn't ask God, whatever. You were so busy doing you that you missed a cue. And so in order for that foundation to keep moving along properly, you have to go back and integrate heart and soul. Doesn't necessarily mean that you can't have what it is you wanted or what you think you wanted, but it does mean that reintegration has to happen at a different level, and it needs to actually include all the things, all of you, right? Not just the parts of you that you like to show to other people. So this again is just sort of talking about do not cast out one another. So right now, spiritual community, the tenor of our conversation, not necessarily what we're trying to say, but how it's coming across is we say things like, oh, don't let your mind get the best of you, or don't let fear take over, or don't do this, or don't do that with your mind and your ego. Don't let your ego, whatever. Situation is everybody's got to be involved. Everybody has to be in on it. That includes your ego. That includes your fear, right? You might want to cross the street to go to the damn Quickie Mart to get some ho-hos. But if your fear is telling you not to cross the street while there's oncoming traffic, you might want to listen to that fear, right? Don't go tossing out these other parts of yourself just because you think they're not higher, spiritual, whatever. And just as we wouldn't want to sidestep our hearts or sidestep our souls and our spirits just to kind of focus on what our minds want or what our egos want. Every part of you needs to be involved in really big decisions. They work better together. It's a machine, not a cog, right? Like you want all of the pieces working together, and you want to be aware of how all those pieces work together for you particularly. Again, just because the mind is speaking does not mean that it's wrong or right over what the heart is saying. And just because your heart wants something doesn't mean it's not meant for you to have. Like I've spoke to clients about this as well. Like, oh, I really want a relationship, or I really want to be married or whatever. And they're sad about it almost because it's like, well, my heart wants it, so I must not be able to have it, kind of thing. And it's like, no, that's not it either. And so depending on what side of the pendulum swing you tend to come from, it's important to go back and get the other one, right? So if you're like a mind, ego, push, willpower kind of person, you want to make sure that you check with the heart and soul. If you are a heart and soul typically kind of person, you want to make sure that you check with your mind and even your fears, if it's there, to make sure that all that stuff is informing each other and working together. This is my girl Whitney. How will I know that he really loves me? Anyway, so yeah, so that's the thing with this. Now, the thing that I was trying to figure out for some time, and that I've been helping clients with, is like, all right, look, it's not like you're gonna know right off, like, right? It takes some contemplation and some meditation and some wrestling with yourself. Oh, hey, Todd, what's up? It's cool. It takes some wrestling with yourself, as my grandma would say, to know which part is which, right? So there's not, you'll hear all kinds of people from Tolle to Zukov, which is some of the books that were coming from all these philosophers, say, hey, you'll know when your heart is speaking to you when this happens, or when this happens. It's different for every human being. The still small voice is one of those things that's across people. Like people, I think that everybody has that back of the head thinking, quote unquote, that is the heart, right? But sometimes my fear will come from my gut. And this will depend on things like your human design, your astrology, other things like that. But my fear instincts come from deep down. And when my fear comes in, even if it's something as small as I might drop something, it feels like run, go, get out, And so what I have to do in most situations is make sure that I'm tempering that fear and like involving my mind and asking some questions because my body will get up and go. So it's like, all right, well, wait, do we need to do that in this particular situation? Is there actually a lion chasing us in the savannah? No. Is what I think or fear happening actually happening? Probably not, right? So it's putting all those pieces together and making sure that for me, how they work is working well for my circumstances. There's another thing I want to talk about too. Meditation is meditation is meditation. You can walk, you don't have to sit down and like, zen it up. It is not necessary. When I'm talking about meditation, like I said, it could be walking, it could be kinetic meditation. So this is walking, this is running. If you've got a gym thing that you do, for me, it's cleaning up. I clean like a mad person when I have something to work out in my head. But it's something to keep my body moving and let my mind process what's happening. And so if I'm doing that, I can kind of know that most of my thinking is coming from my head. I know the voices of my mind and I know the voices of my heart. And it comes from constantly sitting with these thoughts and working through them, and years of kind of like doing that. But it's like anything else, right? Like if you go on a date with somebody, you kind of know their voice. But if you continue dating them over time, you'll know it instantly, the difference between their voice and somebody else's, right? And this is the same way. It's a relationship. You have to have a relationship with these different parts of yourself in order to understand and know them a lot better. Let's see. So just remember, the whole point of growth is being alive. The whole point of being alive is growth and transformation. This actually irks the hell out of me. It's likely true. And I'm even using it here as if it is true, because that seems to be the case. I am somebody who likes a lot of control in my life. I am somebody who likes to know exactly what the hell is going to happen next. I don't want a whole lot of questions. I don't like confusion. Growth is something I can do if I know what the hell is going on, but I am not a fan of change. I don't like it. I do well with it. I just don't like it. And so it's helpful for me to like know that being confused is okay. Once I kind of understood that being confused is okay, then I was okay. But I originally associated confusion with something bad. Like if I didn't know all of the answers to something, either in my life or health or school, it didn't matter. I'm like, I need to know all the things. But in terms of our growth, confusion is necessary, because if you're constantly knowing what to do next, you're going to continue on a particular trajectory. But if you get out of alignment, let's say if your heart is over here and your mind is over here, or whatever's going on, if you get out of alignment and you're never confused, you're just going to continue barreling down the same path you were on, right? Objects in motion stay in motion until they're stopped. This is pre-quantum theory. But anyways, right? Like the basic idea is that you're going to continue moving forward until something or something else, someone outside you stops you. So the point of confusion is for you to learn something new. The other thing I'll say is that too, like confusion requires new information and wisdom. So if you already, you have to kind of go outside of yourself to get new information, right? Like you're not about, if you're in a really confused state, you can't keep ruminating over and over in your own mind and digging around in the treasures of your head or in your heart even for new answers. It's usually not going to happen. So you have to go outside and find them. That's what your therapist is for. You know, it might be a guru, it might be a book, hell, it might be a YouTube video. It doesn't matter, right? But you're going to have to go someplace to get the information that you need in order to move forward. And so when these different parts of ourselves are in conflict, it's an active process of growth. Trying to separate one from another will keep you in the loop, right? So I get this too. People are like, oh, I really want to do this. Like my heart wants to do this, but my mind is saying X, Y, Z. It's not but, it's and, right? You really want to start this business, but your mind is saying it's not the right time. Well, hell, start the business, but maybe now is not the right time. Maybe now you put in the paperwork, or you do the permitting, or you do the research, or whatever. It might not be time to launch, but you can start, right? And I tend to stick with work and relationships because that's what people understand. But it's the same thing with relationships. You know, it's like, man, I really want to date this guy, but I'm having these misgivings. Well, those sound like some good questions you might want to ask him. You know what I mean? Like, Is he moving in the same direction in his life? Does he have the same belief systems and so on and so forth? It's not a but, it's an and, right? And so this is another thing, a little reflection. This one came out of Zhukov's Seat of the Soul. I don't know if y'all can see me on the video yet. I'm still learning how to use these damn cameras. Zhukov's Seat of the Soul, very popular standard book in spiritual communities. Either way, this was about page 61, I believe. So your intention to, so one of the examples he gave, right? Like this heart mind thing. Oh, thanks y'all. Okay, cool. Like, I'm gonna get it together. Zukov was talking about this thing about this intention thing. And I finally understood what he was saying about the intentions. Sometimes when I was talking about that willpower and you barreling through, I want this, so I'm gonna go here. You might be going in that direction, but have subconscious or unconscious intentions. And if anything, this has become something that I've gotten extremely, like almost expert at, is reading somebody's intentions. And it doesn't mean that they're being bad or malicious or dubious. It just means that we all do that. Like we think that we're doing things for a particular reason and we're not. In this example, Zukov is talking about the cases of a marriage. And he was saying, your intention to marry causes pain instead of joy. Following that pain will lead you to unconscious intentions. So let's say somebody brings up, you're in a relationship or whatever, and the other person is like, hey, so, I was just wondering, like, is now about the time for us to start talking about marriage? And you go to that person, yeah, that's great, and then, but there's something inside of you that's like falling to the pit of your gut, right? It's just like, oh my God, right? And you don't really know why that is. But in this particular situation, what's important to know first is that it's happening at all, right? That you're saying and doing one thing, but you're feeling another. And this is why I'm having such a hard time with people who are like, don't worry about your emotions or sidestep your feelings or whatever people say in like these more corporate situations. It's like, no, your feelings are valid information. So if you feel like somebody asks you something like that, or they ask you about a next level of commitment in a relationship, and you think you're supposed to like this, you like this person, or you love this person or whatever, but you're feeling some kind of way about marriage, stop what you're doing. Tell the person, yeah, let's table it, and go someplace and journal about it. Think about it. Why don't you want to get married? Is it this person that you don't want to get married to? Is it the idea of marriage? Maybe a partnership would work, or a civil union or something like that. Maybe it's the idea of taking on the responsibilities and roles of a traditional marriage, right? I've had that come up too, where it's like, oh, I want to be married, but I don't want to be a traditional husband or a traditional wife. I don't want to take on those responsibilities. And so you need to know your own details about what's going on with you before you commit, or before you barrel through and quote unquote do the right thing and marry this person, right? Another example is in work. So let's say you got like this intention. So you're like, hey, I really, really want this promotion. And you've been like driving, you've been working hard, whatever. And the boss is like, come to my office. You sit down in the office with your Starbucks and you're like, damn, I think I'm in trouble. And the boss is like, we want to promote you. And this whole time for years, you've been working to hear these very same words. And you're like, oh shit, I don't want this, or I don't know. And so now you have to step aside and ask yourself, well, what were you going for before? What was it that you were looking for? What was the promotion going to get you that you now feel the promotion won't get you? What was it, fulfillment there? Or was there money? Do you not now care about the money? Right? So these are all things for you to kind of think about when you have these feelings. So this is the last kind of final question, I think. This is a question that I was asking, and questions that I hear people ask too, is like, overall, like what we're trying to do when we ask, is it pure intuition, or is it like, whatever, what we're trying to do is avoid pain, right? Like we're trying to figure out how to avoid heartache and disappointment. And this one was hard for me, but I think the conclusion that I've come to in this situation is like, they keep calling it giving away your power. And I put it in quotes because people keep saying, I don't think people hardly know what the hell they're saying, or nobody's explaining it. People, it's just weird. It's a cliche thing to say. But in this situation, that's kind of what's going on. It's like your power is like your self-perception, your self-belief, how you validate yourself, how you see yourself in the world, what you believe about, you know, your genius, your person, your gift or your offering to this planet. All of that stuff, let's call it, is your power. When you get into a relationship or go to a job or start a project, even something as small as that, you have to ask yourself, what are you asking this other party to give you, right? So let's say you want to start a project and you're getting ready to do it, some creative thing, and halfway through you're like, oh, I don't know if I really want to do this. I don't know if I put all this time and effort into this thing, if it's going to give me back what I want. Well, what are you expecting the project to give back to you? Are you asking for some kind of creative validation? Do you want to know if you do this project that you can achieve something in particular? And if you're going into the project and you're asking for it to give you that return, if it doesn't give you that in return, right, then you're disappointed. On the flip side, you could just do the project and give 2 cents about what happens. I'm trying not to curse because it's Sunday. And not care, right? You could just do the project and all the fear and the resistance and whatever would dissipate because you're not necessarily asking for that project to give you something in return. This, especially in relationships, can be very difficult and very murky because we've been taught to go into relationships with the expectation of that return, whether it's security or love, or not even so much love, because we don't really know what love is, that's something else, but security or validation or status or material something or whatever that is. You're going into that relationship expecting something from that person that's other than companionship, love, and accountability. And so it's very tricky, it's very sneaky. Even the highest minded people among all of us think that, no, I'm with this person just because of whatever. If you can get into the relationship and be in there just for that companionship, just for the love, just for the act of experiencing this other human being for however long, you won't be so worried about if this person's going to cheat on me. Are they going to betray me? Are they going to disappoint me? Right? Your efforts and your time become less of an investment and more of just time spent, right? And this can be very, very hard to learn. It's very hard to pin down, but essentially that's a lot of how you keep that fear-based thinking, or like, fear is good, like I said, to some degree, but you don't want it to be fear-based, right? It's like eating a healthy diet. You want a vegetable-based situation. You can still have your meat, you can still, you can still have your desserts or whatever, but you want the bulk of that plate to be vegetables. In this situation, you want the bulk of your plate to be heart, soul, love, joy, light. And if there's a little fear on that plate, that's fine. Figure out how to eat it, figure out how to digest it, figure out how to move it around. But the bulk of your plate should not be fear. It should not be your head doing weird stuff. And so with relationships and with work and with projects and whatever, you just want to be mindful of what you're asking this person to give you in return. Now, if they can deliver that, that's one thing, but you just want to be aware of what it is you're asking for. Okay, like it's good. I'm glad it makes sense. I'm not even talking. I'm like, I don't know if this is landing. So these are just some questions to ask. This is a little bit about what we were just talking about. Like, these things are not love, right? Safety, stability, zest or passion for life, professional validation, status, material wealth, knowledge and wisdom, self-acceptance, youth, experience, life experience. People get into relationships for those kinds of reasons as well. You get into a relationship because you're looking for kids. I've seen people do that too. This man won't give me kids, so I'm out, and that kind of thing. And that's okay, but just know that when somebody asks you, or when your heart asks you why you're in this relationship, that you don't respond with love, because that's not the whole picture, right? And so making sure that your plate is foundationally love and that those other things on the plate are supplemental or supportive elements of that love, that's fine. But you don't want your whole plate, again, to be full of money, cars, whatever. So that's the important aspect of that. So we just talked about this whole thing about giving away power. I hope that makes some sense. I think that's what people are saying when they're saying that. We don't really know anymore. People just be saying stuff. But really that whole aspect of like giving away power. Oh, got another comment. So Kevin is saying, I think avoiding heartache is tantamount to avoiding human experience. Yeah, right. Like trying to live a life without hurt or risk or disappointment. I feel like that's a natural experience. Your word on bringing all ourselves to life is the entire game. Yay! Hey, I'm talking to myself. Okay, that's good. So I hope that giving away power thing makes sense. But that's your power. And actually, Kevin does a really good job about talking about like genius. It's genius, power, magic, but it talks about like all of this, the parts of you that are powerful, that are your power, that are your personal currency. I think is the way that you say it. So some questions to look at. I'll put these up on YouTube and like post them to the site later on. But how do you know you're giving away your power? So what does this person, place, thing do for your self-esteem that makes it possible for them to hurt you? So I went through this thing like a few years ago. I was trying to really get into the Ivy League because I'm like, I want to get into the Ivy League. I got to do this. I love school, obviously, but it's also like, man, there was something in me. I'd always like believed that I was a little not smart. I wasn't intelligent, or I wasn't like everybody else. I didn't know that was operating back there, but I was actively trying to resolve that. And so I remember applying to the school. I applied to UChicago, I think Yale, and like a couple of other schools. I'm like, I really want to get into these schools. And I remember like the feeling of like anxiety and sweating and all of that. And it's because how I was looking at it was like, if these schools don't accept me, then I'm officially not intelligent. Like that's how I looked at it. And sure enough, when I got accepted, I had this grand, like, oh, I was up and I had this high and I was like, oh my God, and I didn't even know that I was there because I'd allowed the school to give me my power. Like, hey, okay, we will tell you that you're intelligent. And so now you're free to move about the world. And I didn't know that was happening. And like halfway through my being in school, I realized like, oh my God, I thought all those people were brilliant and it's not quite what I thought it was, to say the least. So, be aware of how that's moving in your life, like why you're doing certain things. And just to kind of reiterate, what are you looking for? Do you feel this person or institution's approval is vital to you? Why or why not? Do you need others to tell you that you are good at what you do or otherwise valuable in the world? Now, lastly, this can get very sneaky because what a lot of us are thinking is, I'm not asking for material things. I'm not asking for somebody to tell me I'm good looking or whatever. And you think those are surface things. And you say, well, I'm looking for knowledge. I'm looking for wisdom. I'm looking for whatever. And though those things are not necessarily material things, they are still superficial to the value of love, right? They're still not love. They're still not deep joy. They're still not those other things that nobody can take away from you, is my point. So even with like knowledge or experience, I say that because I found myself in a couple of situations with mentors where I'll like hook up. In the past, I had a kind of a friend or a colleague, and I hooked myself up with her thinking, if I can get next to her, then I can get the experience that I need without having to do it myself. So watch that. You figure that maybe you can avoid pain or whatever by accumulating somebody else's experience, which isn't a horrible thing, except when that person doesn't accept you or they don't give it to you or whatever. And it will cause a betrayal. And at that point, you're thinking, this person was never my friend. And it's like, yeah, likely, but also you didn't get in there for the friendship, right? So it's very sneaky stuff. Just be aware of it, is all I'm going to say about that. And so that's pretty much it. I mean, for the presentation part, quote unquote, it's just, kind of looking at things from a more intellectual point of view. So I'm not just talking so y'all have visuals and everything. The 3 books that I used were The Seat of the Soul by Gary Zukov, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Just get it on Audible, y'all. It's so delicious. Anyways, and The Unfolding Self by Ralph Metzner. This can get very it can be very deep and winding and all of that. This one I would recommend before reading The Unfolding Self, if that's what you still want to do. Audible is always a better choice too, if you don't have time to kind of sit and read. But yeah, so that's it. I don't know. Right now I'm going to go to questions and then we'll hit the tarot before we log off. So let me get out of there. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. I feel like a DJ over here. All right. Oh, Kimberly, yeah, that's a sneaky. That one, yeah. Yeah, osmosis is a great way of saying that. That one, that'll bust you in the head. Sweet. All right. So it looks like we got everything. If y'all have any questions, put them in the chat. If not, let me know if you want me to do tarot for you. I can take a question, maybe 2 a piece before we end for the day, and I find something to eat, because that's what I do on Sundays. And I go to the bookstore or drink coffee. Because that's what I do. So if y'all don't have any questions, then I can close out. I know there's a bit of a lag, so let me look at this other side as well. It's one, okay. Oh, Kimberly. Okay, so Kimberly would love a card. Let's do it. Let's do it. Said a card. All right. Let's do one. Let me see if one pops out. One. Oh, Kimberly. Kimberly. 9 of Wands in reverse. Girlfriend, what is it you're resisting, my love? Especially in the reverse. Let me get a clarifier before I talk too quick. Yeah, I knew it. Stop fighting it. Basically, whatever this okay, so you've got this new project coming in, and there's something that you're supposed to be doing, whatever this is. I don't know. Looks like business or something like this. And there's a lot of planning and strategy and all that stuff that needs to be done. So you're resisting on 2 levels. It's like, talk about sneaky. You're resisting on 2 levels. You're resisting the actual total calling of the thing. And then you're not doing the other like big picture, like strategic stuff that needs to be done to amplify the resistance. This is fascinating. Get some advice for you. Stop playing. All right. And we talked a little bit about this the last time with this thing and you sidestepping your calling and all this kind of thing. I got no words. I heard message delivered. It's done. You done. You done. You play too much. Who else is out there? Playing. Anybody else want a card? Okay, Todd, let's see what we got. Because Kimberly woke up the day to choose violence with these people, boy. All right, let's see, Todd. Let's see what we got. See if ooh, sticky. What you sticking? What you stuck on? So I'll show you what I've got. Feels like we're stuck on a feminine here. And the only reason why you're stuck is because you're stuck. Now this could represent a product or something, but my sense is that this is not a person. Whatever it is, you can have it if you want it and you say you want it and you do the work. And your work isn't like deep soul, anything like that. Your work is knowing that you're valuable, that you're worth it, that whatever this is for you is for you. This is about claiming what's in front of you. And one thing I'll say about claiming what's in front of you is when we're manifesting, right? Or whatever we want to call it, calling stuff in, whatever we're calling it right now. You can get, I'll use a personal example. So I'm like, man, I really want to make XYZ amount of money doing this particular thing. So I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to do the study. I will work hard. I will put in whatever efforts I need to do it. I'm willing to do all of that. The one thing I'm having really difficult time doing is being vulnerable and allowing myself to be intimate with other people. And so what's happening is all the work is showing up. All the visual manifestation of the product is showing up. But that last hump that I need to see the fruits of the total labor is not here yet because I'm so afraid of doing that last little bit. And you'll say, oh my God, I'm not getting this. I don't have this. Why is this not coming in? And as much as you've asked for and as much as you're ready to take on is already in front of you. But you have to be willing to accept the challenge and the difficulty of the thing that you're asking for, right? You can't swim without getting wet. You're not about to make an omelet without breaking an egg, right? It's all of that. And here we go. There we be. Yeah. And you got another sneaker here, and this is what do we need to release? And I think the previous card answered your question. So you are valuable. You're not lacking in anything. You're not lagging anywhere except in your sense of confidence. And that sense of confidence needs to be authentic and not prideful. Okay. So I hope that was helpful. That was deep, but it was helpful. Okay. Oh, good. Okay. I'm glad you got that one. Anybody else here would like any readings? I'm buzzing too. So if there's anything else I can do. Good. Thank you. Okay. Well, if that's not it, if that is it, if that is all, I will post this along with the notes. There'll be like notes and worksheets. So I'll do it every Sunday. Go straight to YouTube. It's also here for y'all to come back on live. I'll timestamp it in YouTube so y'all not have to shuffle through the whole thing. If you're looking for something in particular, you'll get the worksheet for the day. And in about a couple of weeks, I'll release like a whole slew of like workbooks and stuff that y'all can have. So yeah, I think that's it. I think we're done. So I'll say a quick prayer of benediction. Thank you, God, guides, guardian angels, ancestors, Holy Spirit, for the words that were delivered today with compassion, wisdom, and love, so that we may be brought closer to union with ourselves and with each other. May this week be a blessing for all of us. Until we meet again, Ashe. I love y'all so much. Thank you for joining me. So I'm not here talking about, I will get on here every Sunday and talk to myself if y'all don't show up. So it's cool. I'm just saying that's how I'm going to roll it. So it's every Sunday. And I look forward to hearing from you all again. Love you so much. Talk soon. Bye-bye. Oh, and I'll put the donation link in the thing if y'all want to do donations. Not a requirement, no shame, no shade, but I will put it in there if y'all are open to making donations. And I'll see everybody soon. Bye.